Welcome back to Greenwich Valley for episode 10 with me, MrSealyp. Okay, 12 minutes past 4. We've just got a phone call to say there's an item of equipment for us to go and pick up from the store. This is the item I've been talking about for a little while, which is rather cool. What I need to do first though is jet wash the seeder. Now, I have a dilemma. We need to get some seeding done before it gets dark. It's, like I say, nearly 4:15. I want to get some done. We're going to do oats this time. Oats are paying a little bit better than wheat and barley. And we also need to do corn in field 78 next to Rob's pig farm. So that's where we're going to be going. Now, I don't have a planter. We've only got the seeder. I was going to swap this seeder out because it's 6 metres wide and it's not particularly great for going down the main roads or through fences like gates and stuff like that. It goes through and it'll go down the road, but it's tight. So I was looking at options in the store brochure of what we could do. And I mean like fairly cheaply as well. And this popped up, the Kverneland Accord 6 metre. It's only 18,100, which isn't too bad. And the beauty with that is it's trailed, which it means it's that wide going down the road. Then you hook up to that end and you've got a 6 metre seeder, which is fantastic. Downside is it's not a direct drill. The John Deere is. So with what we've done to our fields, directly after harvest, we can effectively no-till. We can just straight in, bang, no cultivating or ploughing needed, we can just get on with it. If we use that one, we're going to have to at least cultivate before we can stick anything in the ground. Which means on top of buying that, we're going to buy or at least lease a cultivator, which means going over the field another time before we can start putting seed in the ground. So I'm not too sure. I think we might stick with that for this planting, seeding. I really don't know. The other added bonus though is because of the implement we're going to go and collect, it does mean that the planter, we can get the brother or sister machine of the seeder that we used to have, but unfortunately, like I say, the 3-point link on the JCB we've got isn't working properly. I think it might be something to do with the hydraulics. Every time we hook something onto it, it's sinking lower than it should be. So the machinery on it isn't working properly. The reason why this one works better is because this one's hooked up by a trailer hitch, not onto the 3-point, which is absolutely fine. As soon as you hook a seeder or planter onto that and drop it down, it seems to go, it just sinks onto the ground, and then these back wheels lose traction and it just doesn't work properly. And that was another reason why, I think, because I mentioned that in a previous episode, that the company in question have wanted to help us out. So that's where we're at. I'm going to head up to the store. We'll probably start on field 78 actually. So you've probably, I mean, if you're new to my channel and you're new to this, I would always urge you to go back and start from the beginning of the Let's Play. It makes more sense, especially when I'm doing storylines and narratives. I'm adding a little bit in there. And I'm not going fully down the rabbit hole. I'm not fully immersive. I'm not, this is not a Daggerwin-esque one with voices and all sorts of stuff like that. This is just a bit of added narrative. I was going to get a taxi, but I think it's a nice evening. Could probably do with the walk. Yeah, so I would go back. It would kind of make more sense. But the company in question being JCB, because I said about the fact that the hydraulics were playing up. They reached out and have offered us some trial hours on a JCB, which is absolutely fantastic. There's that dodgy man lurking in the bushes again. People keep driving down the road and reporting me to the old bill. It's not good, is it? Anyway, the Rozzers, the Popo, the 5-0, however you refer to them, where you come from, your neck of the woods. Yeah, so they've reached out. And I'll be honest, their marketing guys and the guys that are helping us out are absolutely fantastic, been brilliant. And I've learnt a few things, and isn't it weird how you kind of take things as you understand them to be? I've known of JCB since I was a child. JCB's always been around. And as a kid, when you referred to diggers, you know, diggers, it was always a JCB backhoe, you know, because that's what you knew, because they were everywhere. But I didn't know a lot about the history of the company and that kind of stuff. What I didn't know, that JCB stands for Joseph Cyril Bamford, the man that created the company, founded it in 1945. I didn't know that JCB stood for that. Isn't it weird? You just, well, it's JCB, isn't it? I'd never really looked into it because you don't think to. And the Bamford family still run and own the company, which is fantastic. I think it's Lord Bamford. I don't know which. I didn't write down his name, but does it now anyway. That being said, we need to get up to the store. Their motto for the company is Jamais content, which means never content. And that doesn't mean it's like they're... Well, I suppose it is. They're always restless. They're always wanting to move forward. They're never content to sit back on their laurels and say, okay, we're okay now, this is done. They're constantly saying, let's keep moving, let's keep progressing, let's keep changing things, upping things, making things better. Well, that's a fantastic motto to have. Must be cool to have a family motto, mustn't it? Or a company motto, I suppose. Or maybe it's the family motto. Anyway, I'm rambling again. Back up to the store. Let's grab this bit of kit. I also like to say we're going to lease a planter because we're only going to do field 78 with it for the time being, so we don't need to buy one, but we do need to get Rob's field with corn, so we'll crack on with that. I think what I might do is hop the fences and go cross country. Might be a little bit quicker. Walk right in front of a car through this cornfield. Right then, let's have a look, shall we? What I'm really looking forward to doing is a side-by-side comparison with this and the old JCB. And it's again, it's one of those weird things. I don't know if it's just me, but I would urge you to do it. And I do, when I do mod reviews and stuff like that, obviously things are different, but I kind of get into the habit of, I get a vehicle, whatever it is, tractor, piece of machinery, whatever, because it fits the need of what I've got on the farm, the money I've got, whatever it might be. And I use it, and you'll use it for however many hours, but you kind of don't stop to just look it over. You don't kind of look it over in amazing detail. Maybe some people do, maybe it's just me. And I've used these loads of times. I've got one on my test map, and you know, but when you actually take the time to kind of stop and look, it's a fantastic looking bit of kit, isn't it? Did I say fantastic or fantastic? I'm sure I'm still not feeling particularly well, but I'm alright. I'll survive. So, this is what we've got, and we've got some trial hours on this. The trial hours are yet to be confirmed. That has not been agreed yet. So I really don't know what we've got on it, but we've got more than a couple, so we should be able to get some work done, which means planter is the next step. So let's hook on there, planters, and like I say, oh actually it might not be under here, I'm just trying to think. I think it was under seeders, wasn't it, oddly enough? Well, not oddly enough, because it came as that part of a set. The store does have a rather wide selection. There we go. So we had the Pronto 6AS, and that was the one I was having trouble with because of the 3-point link, so we got rid of it and we got the 8350, which, as you can see, price difference massive. But these do fold up. But the Maestro 8RC is the planter version, which will allow us to put corn in the ground. So what we're going to do is lease that. Now this is a row planter in so much as it doesn't have a centralised tank. It has the planter boxes. So when you seed in, you fill each box up individually and it runs through. Always good to have a check over this as well. Mind you, looking there, you've got your openers at the front, then you've got your seeding section, then you've got your row closers. There's no row cleaners on this one at the front, but your closing wheels are quite smooth. Not always, but I was watching, as I've said before, I've been watching a lot of Cold Corn stuff, and they've been upgrading, uprating their seeders and stuff and doing some various different stuff. And the company, the name escapes me, I remember one of those days, they bought some add-ons. They took off all their closing wheels, and they put ones on that were more, they looked like what's it called on, oh my mind's gone blank, I'm having a nightmare. Crenellations, is that the word I'm looking for? Could be, I don't know. I'm losing my mind. Maybe I should have stayed in bed after all. But it does mean these planter boxes, I can put a little bit of seed in these. So we can put a bit of seed in these, bit of seed in the front tank. So let's put the lights on probably. What is glorious about this as well, all-wheel steer, in-cab. I mean, that's the thing as well, you look at the detail in here and the amount of functionality in this compared to the older version. Sounds completely different, looks completely different. Oh, visibility's better out of there as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. What we'll do is when we get back, we'll look at them side by side, and there's that kind of thing as well. Speed, this doesn't go as fast as the other one. I think we've got the 45 mile an hour one, the other one. But this is a 200 and... oh, I want to say 230 horsepower. Why is Debbie's tractor sat in the middle of a field part way through a job? Maybe, what time is it? I'm not sure I've gone for dinner maybe. That's weird. Well, I suppose potentially she's run out of spray maybe. So yeah, all good. I'm hopefully going to try to avoid losing my thread as often. I apologise for the gap in between videos. It's that thing as well, if you're watching these at a later date, and I know I do it as well, you might find a YouTuber or find a channel and you go back and start binge watching. So if you're binge watching this, you may have just watched these one after the other and there's been no gap at all, but there's been a little bit of a gap between the last episode and this one. I do apologise. Like I say, I haven't been feeling at all well the last few days. As you can tell, I'm a little bit bunged up. Some of it's allergies. My hay fever's been horrendous the last 2 days as well, but just feeling really fluey and just, yeah, not at all well. And it's not, you know, it's not what you think it is. At least I hope it's not. But thank you for all the well wishes, all the people that have been, you know, saying I hope I feel better soon, and everyone telling me don't worry, don't take a break and take it easy. That said, yesterday I took it easy, and I've mentioned, I think on one of my snow runner videos, taking it easy was we had a load of rubbish we had to get rid of from all the jobs we've been doing around the house because of the fact everyone's been working from home because of lockdown, and our entire deck at the back of the house was piled with rubbish, old wardrobes and chests of drawers and all the stuff we'd cleared out, but we couldn't get a skip because none of the skip companies were delivering skips. So we managed to find a company that last week said they could, but it was a drop and wait service, so rather than get a permit to be put in the street, they drop it off and they wait half an hour, you load it up and they take it away, which means you don't have to skip out the front of the house for a while. It's cheaper because you haven't got to pay for the permit for the skip. So I have my daughters and my wife, we all live in the same house, but we were all here, and the skip was supposed to arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning, so I got everyone up nice and early. We got as much of the rubbish out in the front as we could, out in the front garden and out in the street, ready for it to come. 9 o'clock came and went, no skip. It finally arrived at 12:20, and we loaded the thing in 15 minutes flat. I mean, and it was close. When it arrived I thought, there's no way we're going to get the rubbish in this, it's not going to fit. We got it all in, all done. Then I jet washed the deck because we haven't been able to use our deck for the last 2 months or so, and the weather was rubbish before that, so cleared all that off, got it jet washed, and then I said as a thank you to all of them I'd do a barbecue, so I fired up the barbecue, did a bit of food. So my day off was actually, I probably did more on my day off than I would do normally. Probably why I'm suffering a bit for it now, but anyway, more waffle, more chat, but that's what I do. Let's stop the engine and hop out. Wow, it's amazing. I mean, what I do like as well when you look at JCB, especially this version, obviously the larger, mind always goes blank of the engine number, the style of this, the fast track, is kind of, you can tell the style's the same, the basic design elements are still there, it's just the modernisation of it, the larger cab with the front tilt on it that way to give you kind of more cab space, more spacious, better view, the rounded over engine bay. You know, there's a, like I say, there's a few cues on there that, wow, very nice. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked again. I just love machinery. Right, so let's find the front part of this. I wonder if I've still got any seeds in the front part. There it is. Potentially, but I want to get at least the corn in the ground. Yeah, we have a little bit in there. I want to get the corn in the ground if I can before it gets dark, and then maybe tomorrow morning we'll get going with the oats, and we are going to do oats. Now what I did do was all the boxes of seed we had laying about, I don't know if I mentioned it before, I unloaded them into a trailer and then tipped them into the silo, so we should have seed in here. So should. Well, not very much, but probably enough for this. I don't know if I'm going to have to open this back up, am I? Will it fill the back up? There's not a huge amount of space in this back, I don't think. Do I need to open the covers on that? I don't know if I can. No, it's just on the front of it. Oh, there you go. Put a bit more in. 2,100 litres, all told. Why would you stop opening that front cover? And like I say, hopefully then, this will hit the ground and we won't have any problems with pulling this. Oh, we've got the connection front to back as well. That's nice. Pipe on that. So, over to Rob's pig farm, just straight down the main road. Let's get some corn in the ground. Now, an amount of that, possibly all of it, depends how much we get. I think it's going to be all of it. It's going to be going towards the pigs. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Rob leases the farm. It's his fields, technically. I mean, yes, we do own it, but because he leases it, it's technically his field. So whilst there are times where if he's not got a crop in it, we as the landowners, we get the option to use it. So we, not me, but the landowners do. But if he wants a crop in it or a particular crop in it, then that's what we do. And like I said, we kind of work as a farm estate, really. It's a kind of an autonomous collective. Well, it's not an autonomous collective because someone's in charge, but you know what I mean. We're all working to the same goal, and that's to stay afloat and not lose the farms, keep our livelihoods, and be able to just enjoy doing this. I think it's one thing I've been learning of late, looking into more, you know, not that I was blinkered to it before, but I think it's that thing of, because of people's different perspectives on farms and farming. And actually my daughter asked me a good question the other day, because one of her friends, or a friend of a friend, has just gone off to agricultural college, and she asked me, is agricultural college just for kind of wealthy people? Because he's, you know, I guess fairly well to do, I don't know. But she said all of his pictures and all of his, you know, videos and stuff, all of his friends seem very kind of, you know, affluent, well off. I dare to use the word posh. I don't want, you know, that's probably the wrong word for it. Right, corn is on. Start it up. Drop it down, and let's see how this new JCB performs, shall we? And I said, well, no, not at all. You know, anyone can go to agricultural college, or, you know, because at the end of the day, it's no different to any other college, university type thing. You pay your fees and you go, you know. But I said there's a big difference between being a farmer, if you're just a farmer, and it all kind of gets put into the same category, and you own your own farm and you run your own farm. It may be a small holding, it may be a larger operation, it depends. Being a landowner, estate owner, or an estate manager is very different to being a farmer, in my opinion. I know people always consider themselves to be farmers, and you might have guys that have worked their way up, and they may well now be estate managers who have their own farm still, but they run an entire estate for a landowner. And when I went to the, is it Rymers Rally? Last year, it was Rymers Rally, wasn't it? Yeah, last year, with the Wombleways. We went to Rymers Rally down in Dorset, and it's the land is owned by Lord Shaftesbury, and he has lots of tenant farmers and stuff on his land, and he has estate managers who run the estate, who I assume are probably farmers as well. But you've got that, a lot of people now are finding it more of an appealing job prospect, and I think with the movement in technology as well, farming is attracting a whole different breed of people. With the use of now of GPS and drones and, you know, all the new technology that's coming into farming, you've got a lot more technically minded people and a lot more youngsters getting involved in it, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I mean, my daughter Celia has been considering her options for what she does for a job, and she's been seriously looking at agricultural college because she's a bit of a whiz with a computer, you know, and she's got a cool head on her shoulders. She's a bit of a problem solver, you know. And I said to her, with her passions, what she loves, and she loves playing the farming game and all that kind of stuff, and whenever we've gone and done vlogs and things, she loves all of that. I said it would be the kind of perfect fit, you know. You'd end up doing something you would love and be passionate about, while still integrating some of your kind of hobbies and interests and skills that you're good at. So I don't know what she's going to end up doing. At the end of the day, I've always said to my kids, I don't really care what you do, and that's not a hands-off parenting style of I don't care about you. It's a case of all I want you to be is happy. If you're happy in what you're doing and you enjoy what you're doing, that's all I care about. It really doesn't bother me. I've never been one of those parents that have said, you know, when you grow up you're going to be a. I've never been a particularly pushy parent or anything like that, and that's just who I am and how I am. I really wouldn't care what my kids did as long as they're happy, you know. That's all that matters. If you enjoy what you do, and I've probably mentioned it before on Let's Plays before, my eldest daughter's a graphic designer, incredible artist, very, very good at what she does. She was always very good at art, and, you know, and what she's doing now, weirdly, she doesn't do as much art, but she is a graphic designer by trade. And she's incredibly lucky because she loves what she does, you know. She found a job that was her passion and her hobby, and that's fantastic if you can do that. Oh, we missed a bit there. How do we do that? So yeah, I don't know, how do we get onto the subject? It was about farms and farming. Oh yeah, that was it. Sorry, I've done it again. But it was, again, I was watching Calder Corn start. And what a lot of people don't talk about is finances, and I know on How Farms Work, Ryan Custer did it a while ago, quite a way back, because people seem to think farmers are incredibly wealthy and they get subsidies from the government and stuff like that, and they do. Some of them do, not all of them do. It depends if you're entitled to it or whatever they decide. And some estate owners and landowners are incredibly wealthy, but your average farmer isn't. And I watched an episode the other day where he went through the farmer's finances. He was using averages from the state rather than using their own, but they were using their own figures in so much as yields and that kind of stuff, and hectares and acres farmed and that kind of stuff. And it actually worked out the year previously they hadn't made anything. If anything, they were about 280 grand in the hole. And it's difficult, and he said it's difficult because it's a rolling thing. You don't come to the end of the year and get a payment. You get paid when you're selling your crops and all those kind of things, but your outgoings are constant. And a lot of farms work on loans and bank notes and credits and stuff, and you've got payments you make on those, and maybe payments on vehicles over a 3, 5, 10-year plan, whatever you're paying your vehicles off on. And if you have a particularly good yield one year, you may break even, you may make a bit of money. And I think that's one thing I'm kind of coming to learn, is watching all these guys and all these channels. It's their passion. It's their passion and love for what they do that drives them forward. It's not financial gain. It's not, you know, and they're incredibly lucky in that. If you can be happy in what you're doing, that's how I got into that, talking about that, wasn't it? It's an amazing thing to watch people, you know, as long as you can put food on the table, you've got a roof over your head, you're healthy, and, you know, materialistic things aren't necessarily the most important, you know. And I think we do place a lot of stock and store in having things, and that's down to clever marketing from companies and businesses and advertising and media from, you know, a very long time ago. And we all become very, you know, we must have this latest new thing, and really we don't, you know. I know it's easy to say for me. I'm, you know, you've seen when I did my sort of man cave tour, I'm a hoarder. I collect stuff, you know. It's not about materialistic gain. I don't lord it up over people. I don't say, oh, look at my collection of blah blah blah. It's just something I do. I just collect stuff. But if I didn't have any of that, it wouldn't matter. It really wouldn't make any difference whatsoever if I had that or didn't have it. As long as I've got a roof over my head, the bills are paid, that's the important stuff, you know. Sorry, we're back in the church of MrSealyp as well. The Reverend MrSealyp presiding. Oh, blimey, see, now I didn't even turn it on. It's one thing I do like about watching all these guys doing the real world farming, is their reasons for starting up their channels, and the fact that you learn so much. And what I love is the fact you learn something different from all of them, because not every farm's the same. You know, it's incredible to see the diversification in jobs and machinery and equipment and practices and approaches, and I think it's one thing that I found from YouTube comments when I'll do a video and people say that's not how that's done. And I'll often go back with a remark or a comment back and say, well, I've seen it done this way, I've seen it done this way on TV, I've seen it done this way in the real world. Just because something's not done that way near where you live, it doesn't mean it's not done that way elsewhere. You know, and I think, like I said before about putting bits of machinery together and bodging things together, and that ability of people like the Corn Stars and the Welker family, and you know, the Custers and how farms work, and all the other channels I watch, is that ability to problem solve and fabricate, and you know, if you need something to do something, make it, you know, put it together, build it, bodge it. It doesn't matter, as long as it works, do it. That's brilliant. I love that kind of, it's that inventiveness. That is so clever. They had a guy on recently, they got a new system for all of their fertiliser, and it's a system that mixes and meters all your fertiliser and water to go into your sprayers. And the guy has his own farm with his sons, and these guys are just inventors. I mean, I can't remember his name now, that's really frustrating. But from a very young age, I think both his sons are engineers as well as on the farm now, and that's what they've done from a very young age, and as a family they have solved problems on their farm to a point where they decided, well, some of the problems we've solved could come in handy for other farmers out there, so now they've got a company that puts out products for other farmers to utilise potentially the same stuff they're doing. Again, that's brilliant, that's just incredible. Sorry if this, I mean, this, I don't know, it's weird. I've got the feeling lately, on this series especially, I don't know why, it's kind of, each episode is more of a stream. Does that make sense to you? When I do a live stream, and I don't do them very often, but when I do them, I do chat and I'll interact with the chat and, you know, people commenting, and it's that kind of, it's more of a chatty, rather than just bang, get stuff done, move forward with the farm. I found myself a lot more on this series being a lot more chatty, like a live stream. Don't know why. Maybe I'm getting a bit more introspective in my old age. I mean, potentially by the end of this episode all we will have done is just this field. Potentially. I hope not. I do want to look at these two side by side, like right side by side, and I also want to get some oats in the ground. What happened there? Oh, did the tank run out? We're switching over, are we? Yep. Rear tank's run out. Front tank's now on. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to finish this field off. And then probably, as long as it's not too dark, we'll get on with doing some oats. And then maybe I can get all that done. This is all going to need another spray. I'm going to have a chat with Debbie as well, because it potentially, I'm assuming she's just gone for dinner and then she'll come back and she'll finish off that field. But we're going to need all our fields going over again, especially the ones like now, because these have had one fertilising, and now we're seeding, planting. So we'll get another squirt on these, and that'll be all our fertilising done. These will be good to go. I'm terrible for going off at a tangent. Right, almost back at the farm. I want to stick these next to each, right next to each other, because I'm curious about the size differences and that kind of thing. As it stands, then this sower planter is not needed now. We did what we wanted to do with it, so pop that there. Front tank is down to 91%. I suppose we could put a little bit in that, couldn't we? Try and get under the spout. Let's just pop that there. Cool. Right, let's stick these next to each other. I don't know why I'm so curious about that. I'm just fascinated to see the evolution of this. We're going to need that in a minute, so I might as well bring it forward. Dimensions actually aren't that far off, are they? Wheelbase, I mean these tyres look a little bit bigger. I mean that's just tyre size. This definitely sits higher. I'll say it definitely does. The cab certainly seems to, doesn't it? The cab's bigger on that one. There really isn't a huge amount of difference in it. Technology, you would say, but yeah, look at the hydraulic arms. Look at the 3-point on the back. That one sits much higher off the bat. That one, that's definitely sagging. We're having some problems here, aren't we? Look. That could be the issue we're having with this. Oh man, the problem is to replace this. If we get trial hours on this and find that we actually love it, that's a 200 grand tractor. We don't have 200 grand. I suppose we could lease one, but I don't know. That's again going back to what I was talking about before. Looking at farmers, and it's a huge investment investing in a new tractor. It would probably be a lot cheaper to get this repaired than buying an entire new tractor that has got more horsepower. Oh, there you go. Debbie's obviously finished. There we go. Contract's on 115 finished. Oh, that's good. Well, she can get the sprayer back over, and she'll probably have a crack on with field 78, or she'll swap over and let Rob do it, whichever way around. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know what to do now. I really am kind of torn. I'll need to speak to the boss, because if we are going to have a lot of problems with 3-point link, and it's it is a slightly lower horsepower. There's no denying that. You can't take that away from it. It is slightly lower horsepower. It's like it's been a naughty child sent away to its room. Don't worry, we will be back for you. But we've got a new toy to play with. You're our new favourite child. No, I'm joking. Oh, dearie me. I am losing it. Right. Now. No, I'm not going to. There we go. Doesn't actually take a lot, this one, does it? I'll come to the front. I'm not going to put fertiliser in it. So, oh no, I'm still on soybean. I mean, soybean will pay out way more. Oh, should I do soybean again? Did say I was going to do wheat or barley, but I don't really need the straw. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the top there at Linton Mill, just for example, or Greenwich Mill, wheat, well, it's weird actually, because barley at Greenwich Mill is paying out more than wheat at the moment, but wheat's paying out more than barley at Linton Mill. But if you go across and look at oats, which is the next one over, 750, and that's falling. But further down you've got Whitney Grain, 1,500 and something, Linton Mill 1,072. But then if you go across to soybean, which is what we sold before, plus we know we can sell soybean up at Jeremy's cow farm for a huge amount of money. It just seems a bit mad putting a crop in the ground that's not going to make you money. It's probably another one of those things like again, I'm sorry I keep harping back to it, but it's kind of what I'm learning. I know to make videos interesting, to make, you know, you want a variety of crop types being put in the ground, you want to see different processes being done. That's why I always try and get in a bit of logging, a bit of planting. I try and do a different type of crop at some point, you know, whether it be sugar cane or potatoes or sugar beet, or, you know, to keep it interesting. But when you look at a lot of them, when you look at Zach Johnson, Millennial Farmer, and you look at Cola Cornstar, they run corn and soybeans. Sometimes they'll do the Welcome guys will do spring wheat, winter wheat. They've done chickpeas and something else they've done before. I think they do beans as well. Some farmers will just do the same crop or the same two crops all the time. They won't swap out. But like I say, I know it's, you know, because they don't need to, of course. But and you'll do the crops that are gonna, for the ground you've got, are gonna make you the most money, realistically, aren't you? So, like some, you'd be mad not to. But as you can tell, it's now nearly 5:10. The light is starting to go. It's not too bad from certain angles, no different to how it is in the real world. Whoa. For photography, lights in front of you, everything's going to be dark behind. So you want the light behind you to light up your subject. Oh, we've got some big decisions to make on the farm here, haven't we? I'll need to speak to Mick and Stuart and see what they want to do. I mean, at the end of the day, my job is to get them out of debt. That's what we're trying to do. Actually, saying that, let's just turn it off a second. I haven't checked that, have I? I didn't show you. We paid off a chunk, didn't we? But I didn't show you what we'd got down to. Loan. 940,000. So we got sub 1 million. We started on the farm, we were at 1.75, wasn't it? We've done a few different jobs here and there that have made us some big chunks of money, which is absolutely fantastic. It's what we were supposed to do. A couple of fields sold, which obviously was a big chunk of money as well. Fields that were over and above what the farm needed, I personally felt. But the thing about it is, if we can get to a point where we can get the farm solvent again and start making money again, there's no reason at all why the farm then can't, if they're becoming more prosperous, then start looking at, okay, we can buy another field again now. Shrink back, collapse in bag, do what you can do, cope with what you can cope with, and then, you know, don't overextend yourself too soon. Or if you have overextended yourself, sometimes you've got to stop and think, I have to cut my losses, you know, this is not working, we cannot manage to do all of this. So that's kind of the point we're at. But we are sub 1 million now, which is absolutely fantastic. But we've got to now look at our options. Yeah, don't know what to do now for the best, really. I mean, we could buy a tractor now, which in the long run would help the farm out, and when we get the money back, when we make the money back and we've paid off all the debt, then it won't have been a wasted investment. But you've got to look now and think that's a big chunk of money that could be paying off the loan. I don't know. They're all big decisions, aren't they? You know what I'm going to do? I don't do this very often, but I do it every now and again. I'm going to put it to you guys. What do you reckon? What do you reckon the farm should do? Not that I'm going to necessarily do any of them. I'm just trying to, you know, what do you think? Should we invest in a new tractor, get a JCB, a new one like this, after we've done the trial hours, buy one? With the money we got in the bank, we could afford to get one. It only was 47 grand, but we are doing crops and we have got some more irons in the fire, so we are going to make more money. And then, like, the next rotation round, then start chipping back away at the loan. Or should we just clear the loan first, then look at buying a new tractor? What do you reckon? What are your thoughts on the matter? Now, we are looking at replacing for a JCB, so If you're thinking of, if you're going to comment and say you should buy and then everyone starts listing 500 different tractors, if we're going to get one, we're going to get this. We're going to get this JCB, not necessarily this one, because this one I'm going to really mess this up, but not really. Oh, I missed a bit. How did I manage that? But you know what I mean. We are going to get one of these. This model is what we're going to go for. What I do like about this as well, we can stick narrows on this. We've got wides on it at the moment. We can put twins on this. I'm trying to think, is there a, in inverted commas, is there a specialist version of this or just a standard JCB? Is there a, like a customised one? I'm trying to think. Was that, am I thinking back to FS19? Can't remember now. Anyway, I've got a lot of work to do, and quite clearly, as we've seen, Debbie's done. So what I might do is, if I can get this sorted to a point where I can get Stuart having a crack with the new trial tractor, maybe we could do that. And then I'll speak to Debbie, we'll get Debbie refilled, get field 78 sorted out, and then Debbie will then do the rotation around the fields as we're seeding. She'll go around and do the oh, hang on, wrong button. That's better. Meant to put cruise control on, didn't quite click the right button. It's funny how I bounce between using my side panel and my controller. Sometimes my brain automatically defaults to my controller and I just go bump bump, press the buttons and away I go. And other times I'm just on my side panel all the time, using all the buttons for raising and lowering, and you know, I suppose if I want to feel more immersed into the whole situation, then I'll use my side panel more. Other times I'm just literally just on the controller. Anyway, like I said, more to do. Right, Debbie had some errands to run. We have been paid for the contract she just completed. We are just picking up between us, myself, Rob and Debbie, any fertilising contracts that come up, we're just cracking on with. Actually, what I was going to do, let's give this a bit of a going over because it's looking a bit filthy. It could probably do with it, just to make sure everything's okay. I'm going to fill up and I'm going to go to field 78. Get that sprayed. There was about 200 litres left in this of fertiliser, so I've used that on field 78. And what I'm going to do is refill, go back over and do that, then go and do field 33. Stuart is now moved over onto field 32 and he's planting there. I didn't kind of follow through on my train of thought, did I? We put soybean in the ground. It's going to give us the most money. And that's what I want to do, get debt free as quick as possible, and then we can just go from there, whatever we're going to do. So yeah, I mean, what we're looking at, 6 o'clock now, light is definitely going. I've left this open the whole time now. I did say a little while ago, when you go and fill this up, sometimes you have to open cover. On this one, this opens here. When you close it, that's like a soft plastic, soft rubberized plastic, so that flaps down, and I've just left it open a lot of the time because it was just easier to do that. So what we'll do, swing around in the yard. And my other option as well, because we've got the other JCB sitting there, would be to lease another seeder and have 2 running, which was something I did consider actually. We'd get through a lot quicker, and it would, having a second vehicle as a trial, why wouldn't we take advantage of that? It seems mad not to. Fill up that one. Switch the back tank. Swing round. Down to the last 12,000 litres of, you see the thing going down there? Up, down, one way round, filling up, not going down. So, right. I say Stuart's in the field, I assume he's still... Oh, there we go, look. Getting to play in the JCB. Yeah, so once field 78 is done, I'll come over, we'll put some spray down on here. That'll be the second spray, so they'll be good to go. Then we're over to field 15, and then I think we've got another fertilising contract for field 38 to take on. There are a couple available there, field 12 and field 17. Also field 109, so what we might do is bounce through the night and work late and just pick up as many as we can. We are also considering at the moment selling the harvester wherever it's gone, the harvester. Maybe if we can get a cheaper one of an equal capacity. I don't know whether, I don't know, it might only make us 20-30 grand, but I suppose 20-30 grand, isn't it? It's not to be sniffed at. Right, so field 78. What I'm going to do at this point is love you and leave you. I've got a banging headache. So yeah, we'll call it now. I may well grab another seeder. I don't know what to do. I need to get all these fields finished before it gets dark so they can all be grown overnight. That's the plan. I'm off to field 78 to get this done. Anyway, sorry about my ramblings again. I know, you know, I know every time I apologise, people say you haven't got to apologise while we're watching it. Sometimes I just get on one train of thought leads to another, and I very rarely come back to the first one, which is interesting. When I said about crenellations, I suddenly went, crenellations, that was it, and didn't really expand on that. I was talking about the closing wheels on the planter, wasn't I? Yeah, the company was Yetta, I remembered now. It was Yetta, coming with the ag, and their closing wheels are crenellated like the top of a castle wall. And they just seem to, they're more aggressive closing wheels than just normal rollers, but anyway, that was my train of thought. I finally came back to it as I was saying that, so it popped into my head. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free, and if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do, as always. Thanks for watching.